It's 3 a.m. Your eyes just snapped open. No noise, no nightmare, no reason at all. And here's the thing that's going to mess with you a little. This is happening to almost everyone you know. Tonight, at roughly the same time. So the real question isn't, what's wrong with me? The question is, why your brain is designed to do this. Because it is. This isn't a malfunction, it's a feature. And by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you the one thing you should never do when you wake up at 3 a.m. The thing that turns a 5-minute wake up into 2 hours of staring at the ceiling. Most people do it automatically. You're probably doing it right now in your head when it happens. But first, you need to meet the thing running the entire show. There's a clock inside your brain, a real physical one, and it controls almost everything about your night. Deep in your brain, right above where the nerves from your eyes cross over, sits a cluster of about 20,000 neurons. It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And don't worry about the name, just call it the master clock. This clock controls your sleep, your hormones, your body temperature, your hunger, even your alertness, all of it running on a roughly 24-hour rhythm. That's your circadian rhythm. Here's the wild part. Your internal clock doesn't actually run on a perfect 24 hours. Left completely alone with no light cues, and scientists have literally done this experiment, most people's clocks drift a little longer than a day. So every single morning, your brain has to reset itself back to the real world. And it resets using one thing more powerful than anything else: light. You have special cells in your eyes whose only job is to detect light and report it straight to your master clock. They're not for seeing. They don't help you read or recognize faces. They exist for one reason only: to tell your brain whether it's day or night. So when morning light hits your eyes, that signal slams into your master clock and says, "It's daytime, reset, start the day." And when darkness falls, your clock releases a chemical you've definitely heard of: melatonin. Now, here's a huge misunderstanding. Melatonin is not a sleeping pill. It doesn't knock you out. Melatonin is a messenger. It's your body's chemical signal for darkness. When it rises, it tells every cell in your body, the sun is down, night has begun. It's the dimmer switch, not the off switch. And what controls whether melatonin rises? That's right, light. Bright light shuts it down. Darkness lets it climb. Hold on to that because it's going to matter a lot in about 2 minutes. Now, the night itself. Here's the first thing nobody tells you. You are not supposed to sleep straight through, like a switch flipped off and back on. Sleep happens in cycles. Each one runs about 90 minutes, and you go through 4, maybe 5 every night. You dip down into deep sleep, float back up toward light sleep, pass through dreaming, and then you do it all again. And every single time you come up out of a cycle, you brush right up against being awake. Light sleep is the doorway. Most nights you cross it and drop straight back down and never know it happened. But sometimes you wake up just enough to notice. And here's the crucial detail. The two halves of your night are not the same. The first half is loaded with deep sleep. The second half, the early morning hours, is loaded with light sleep and dreaming. So by 3 a.m., you're already in the lightest, most easily interrupted part of your entire night. Which is the perfect moment to introduce the other main character: cortisol. You've heard it called the stress hormone, and it is, but that's only half its job. Cortisol is also your wake-up hormone. It's the chemical that raises your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your alertness, and gets your body ready to face the day. And here's a part that ties this whole thing together. Cortisol and melatonin work like a seesaw. When melatonin is high, cortisol is low. That's night. As the night goes on, melatonin falls and cortisol begins to rise. And that rise starts in the pre-dawn hours. For a lot of people, it kicks in around 2 to 3 a.m. There's even a name for the final surge: the cortisol awakening response. In the first 30 minutes or so after you wake, cortisol spikes hard, a burst to launch you into the day. But that ramp doesn't begin at your alarm. It's been building for hours, and it's building right through the lightest part of your sleep. So put it together. Your sleep is at its lightest, your wake-up hormone is climbing. The two line up perfectly. That's why 3 a.m. It's not random, it's a scheduled appointment between your sleep cycle and your hormones. Now, a few things can make that wake up worse, and once you understand the clock, you'll see exactly why. Alcohol. It knocks you out fast, but as your body breaks it down, it fragments the back half of your night and can trigger an early cortisol bump. Stress and anxiety do it too. They prime your cortisol system so it fires early and fires hard. A room that's even slightly too warm pulls you up out of sleep because your body is trying to drop its core temperature at night. And a dip in blood sugar, or simply needing the bathroom, can be the final nudge. But here's the unifying idea. None of these create the wake-up. The lightness of your sleep and the rise of your cortisol set the stage. These things are just the nudge that pushes you over the edge, at the one time of night when the edge is closest. And now, that thought I told you to hold on to? Light. Remember, melatonin only rises in darkness. So when you scroll your phone in bed, that bright bluish light hits those special cells in your eyes, and they report to your master clock, the sun is up. Your brain slams the brakes on melatonin. You've basically told your internal clock it's daytime at 11 p.m. You've shoved your whole rhythm later and made that fragile second half of the night even more fragile. Your 3 a.m. wake-up may have been set in motion before you even fell asleep. And before we get to the fix, here's a genuinely fun piece of history. For most of human existence, people didn't even try to sleep straight through the night. Historians have found a mountain of evidence that humans used to sleep in 2 shifts. You'd go to bed, sleep for a few hours, then wake up around midnight for an hour or two, wide awake, on purpose. People would talk, pray, tend the fire, write, even visit the neighbors. Then they'd go back for a second sleep until morning. They literally called them first sleep and second sleep. So that 3 a.m. wake-up you've been fighting? Your ancestors didn't fight it. They expected it. They used it. It was just part of the night. Which brings us to the real problem. It was never the wake-up. It's what you do next. So, you're awake. And here's the one thing you should never do. Don't check the clock. I'm serious. The second you read 3:31, your brain does math. I have to be up in 3.5 hours. If I fall asleep right now, that's only... Oh no. And just like that, you trigger the stress response. You've spiked your own cortisol. You've told your body there's a threat, and the threat is a number on a screen. That jolt of cortisol and anxiety wakes you fully. Now you're alert, calculating, trying to sleep, which is the one mental state that guarantees you won't. And remember, you've also just blasted your eyes with light, killing whatever melatonin was left. You've hit your sleep with a double punch. That's how a 5-minute wake-up becomes 2 hours. So what do you do instead? You let it be boring. Don't check the time. Don't grab the phone. Don't start solving your life at 3 a.m. because your 3 a.m. brain is terrible at solving problems. It only finds them. Just lie there, eyes closed, and slow your breathing down. Long, slow exhales. They actually nudge your nervous system back toward rest. And tell yourself the truth. This is normal. My clock is doing exactly what it evolved to do, and resting is almost as good as sleeping. And if you're still wide awake after what feels like 20 minutes, get up. Go sit somewhere dim. No bright lights, no scrolling, because now you know what light does to your clock. Do something genuinely boring until you feel sleepy. Then go back to bed. Lying there frustrated only teaches your brain that bed is where you stay awake. So let's bring it home. Waking up at 3 a.m. isn't a malfunction. It's a master clock in your brain, set by light, running melatonin and cortisol on a seesaw that's been tuned over hundreds of thousands of years. Your sleep naturally thins out in the early morning. Your wake-up hormone naturally rises to meet it, and you surface, exactly as designed. The wake-up is ancient and normal. The 2-hour spiral is the part you can actually control. And most of the time, it starts the second you reach for that glowing screen. Tonight, when it happens, and it probably will, turn the clock away. Keep the room dark. Let it be boring. Let your body do what it already knows how to do. If this finally explains something you've wondered about for years, you'll probably like the breakdown I did on why you feel exhausted even after a full 8 hours of sleep. Same clock, different mystery. And it's the natural next piece of this puzzle. It's right there on the screen. Either way, sleep well. I mean that.